In the past 2 years, 76% of real estate agents haven't done a single transaction. And I expect that number to be very similar for real estate investors. And even the ones that are doing consistent deals on average are making no more than $50,000 to $80,000 per year. So how do you join the 5 to 10% of investors and agents that are actually building a real business, making real money, and not doing the number one mistake everyone does in building themselves a prison and just another high-paying job? If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Ruud-Johnson. In this channel, we get into the nitty-gritty of building your dream real estate business, sourcing more deals, making more profit, and building your dream life and dream business. And I've had the privilege of working with, talking to, investigating the ins and outs of over 1,000 real estate businesses, including my own HelloPad. And what I can tell you is the number one mistake people make when they get into this business is they start designing someone else's dream from what they've seen on social media. And they stop paying attention to what I call the core 3 principles of building your dream real estate business. So if you're an agent and you're an investor and the algorithm has bought you this video, it's brought you this video for a reason, because it's time for you to take this seriously. And if you take this business seriously, it's going to pay you seriously. So, core principle number 1 is that the only thing that matters in a real estate business is the P word, and that P word is profit. And you see, I made the mistake that so many of us do early on in our real estate career, where we see the big checks online, the wire transfers, the wholesales, the flips, the developments, and we create this fascination of more. If I could only own more units, I would be better off. If I could only find more partners, I'd be better off. If I could only get more square footage from my team's office, I would be better off. If only my deal volume went up and I was doing more deals, I would be better off. And the issue with this line of thinking is you chase vanity metrics forever. And vanity metrics are things that take you to more, but not more of what matters. And scale is not about doing more of. Scale is about increasing the profit that you are creating for yourself through your business, right? I know so many people that have made a ton of money but still burnt out. An example of that is when I was early in my career, I was 21 years old. So, 6 or 7 years ago, I went to a mastermind in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I paid $5,000 to be there. And what I discovered while being there has played out over the last, 6, 7 years of my career. There was about 50 people at that mastermind, and every single one of them was doing at least $1 million per year in their business. That's what you had to do to qualify to be there. And so they were making money, they were active in the business. And this just goes to show you the issue I'm talking about today has nothing to do with your ability to do deals. It has to do with your ability to make it long-term and actually have a profit center, right? Not a revenue center, not just an egocentric, vanity metric business where you can tell everyone how many deals you're doing and how awesome you are. And you can go to family dinners and say you're a real estate investor, but something that actually pays you. And fast forwarding 6, 7 years from that event, there's maybe 3 or 4 people that I know that are still in the business, still doing deals. The rest are not even in the real estate industry or aren't self-employed anymore. So the number one principle that I want you guys to focus and digest in this sense is what? It's profit. And profit should be your only focus. If you're going to scale, the thing you have to scale is profit. No one is coming to write you a check for your real estate business. They are not sellable companies. I want that to drill into your head. And so if real estate businesses are not sellable companies, what is the one thing that matters? It's profit. That is principle number 1. And you need to know your profit. Have a good bookkeeper. Do your accounting the right way. And really understand and be honest with yourself at all the revenue that comes into your business, how much of that actually comes into your pocket. And if you're honest with yourself with that question, you'll know if you're scaling the right thing or you're scaling vanity metrics. So number 1 principle is profit. If you don't want to join the 76% that aren't doing a deal and the 90% that even if they are doing deals aren't building themselves anything but a high paying job. The second principle you have to digest and bring into your daily life and business is asking yourself the question of what business are you really in? A lot of us, we get into real estate and we tell our friends and family that we're these amazing real estate investors. We're going to take over the world. We're entrepreneurs. We're self-employed. And that feels freaking good to say, right? It's cool. For some reason, there's been this fascination with being self-employed, even though the 98% of the time, it's hard, it's grueling, it's challenging. It'll test every part of you. It is the greatest self-improvement journey that I believe you can go on as a human. And time again, we get caught up in the real estate investment. I'm a flipper, I'm a wholesaler, I'm a developer, I'm an agent side. And we forget to ask ourselves the question of what business are we actually in? And we are in the business of sales and marketing. And so the second principle is realizing that you are in a sales and marketing business. And the only way you make more money is by getting better at those two things, sales and marketing, and building leverage around those two things. And there's 4 ways you can build leverage around sales and marketing. You have content, you have code, you have capital, and you have collaboration. Content is, I'm not necessarily just talking about social media content, but although one of the biggest pieces of marketing is brand, and building a social media presence for yourself and your company is one of the biggest friction removers to raising money, to finding employees, to bringing in more deals to your business. I can't speak to enough how important a personal and business brand is, but that's kind of besides the fact right now. Content is trainings for your team. It's documented SOPs and videos. It's the ability to teach someone something, either your audience or your team, without your direct involvement. That's piece of leverage number 1, content. You then have code, right? That's software, that's AI, and it's incredibly valuable. And it's a tool that helps you amplify your sales and marketing efforts, right? One of the things that you can do in this business is you can use a dialer, right? A dialer helps you make more dials. And that is an example of leverage, right? When on the sales side, you can use something like Balto.ai to give your team immediate sales feedback and to make sure they're maximizing their sales calls. That's an example of code leverage. You then have, after content and code, you then have capital, money. Obviously, the more money your business generates, the more money you can dump into marketing and building a sales team and a sales process and iterate on both of those things. And the last one is collaboration, and collaboration is people. And that can be consultants and coaches, that can be employees of your business, that can be contractors you hire, but people are the ultimate leverage piece, and they come in and they run that content, code, and capital side, and they help you ultimately solve that problem of sales and marketing. So the second principle is you have to realize that you are a sales and marketing focused business and use the 4 C's of leverage to make sure you scale that and focus on that as much as possible. Oftentimes we've seen, after working with 1,000 real estate entrepreneurs, the ones that win are the ones that focus as much time as they humanly possibly can on those 2 things. And they become expert in real estate sales and marketing. They think of marketing as an investment. They think of sales as the main skill set they need to build. And you go watch any reality TV show selling it like Sirhan, any of these guys, you know what they're masters of? They're masters of sales and marketing. Yeah, they might do some flips and they might build some homes, but you know what they're actually experts in? They're experts in branding and marketing, and they're experts in sales and negotiation and leverage. So that is principle number 2. At this point, you've understood that you need to focus on profit, and scale means scaling profit. And a profitable business is a healthy business in real estate because no one's coming to buy it. And now you can ask yourself the question every single day of, what business am I in? And you are in the sales and marketing business. Principle number 3 is another really important principle, and I call this productive distraction. And one of the main things I've seen working with real estate agents and investors getting under the hood of their business is when you look at their calendar, they probably spend 80 to 90% or more of their time on things that do not matter. Right? What does that mean? Well, they are out on appointments with sellers that don't want to sell. They are underwriting deals for sellers they've never talked to. They are tinkering with AIs and CRMs. They are going to office meetings every single day. They are sitting in Facebook groups. They are making content, but they are not driving the needle forward for their business. And I call all of these things productive distraction. And they are productive, but they are distraction. They are not your one thing. There's an amazing book by Gary Keller called The One Thing, which asks you the question, and I sit in front of this question every single week myself. What is the one thing that if I did well and did to completion would make everything else in my business easier or unnecessary? And then I go back to those 4 pillars of leverage: content, code, collaboration, capital, and it's usually tied to one of those. That is how you get around productive distraction, because scaling your business is not about doing more. It's about doing more of what actually matters. And you'd be shocked if you actually spent 4 to 5 hours per day on something that's actually productive, that actually matters to your business, instead of busy work and just feeling like you're productive. You'd be amazed how far you could push the ball forward. And I bet you, if you just protected 4 to 5 hours per day for your most important work, whether that is prospecting, whether that is hiring, whether that is, learning, whatever that may be, it'll change your business forever. And so productive distraction and avoiding it and actually figuring out your one thing is the third principle of not joining the 90% of people in real estate that either aren't doing any deals or are doing deals, but it's just a high paying job. If you want to be an elite operator, those are the three principles you have to almost get tattooed onto your body. Profit is the only thing that matters in your true North Star. You are in a sales and marketing business, and you have to avoid productive distraction and find your one thing. If you can do those three things, you will build an amazing real estate business that you will want to run forever, that'll pay you handsomely, that'll allow you to build wealth and whatever you see for yourself and your future. If you're new to the channel here, make sure you subscribe to see 10 to 15 minute videos like this on how to attack the actual things that matter in real estate every few days. And also, if you haven't checked out the Off-Market Method community, it's about 600 active agents and investors around the country. I believe it's one of the best online communities out there. Weekly live calls and trainings. That is all below this video. And until next time, I wish you the best of luck, and you are only one deal away.